So give us an insight into your latest strategy. You've talked about launching legal action against the government once again. Are you in talks with other parties? Because your line seems to be similar to that of John Major and others who've talked about taking legal action here.
So there are quite a few people who've been talking about it on a hypothetical, if this were to happen. Well, I became alarmed on the 6th of June when actually Dominic Raab, who was one of the leader contenders, talked about this and mooted the idea of proroguing Parliament. So straight away, my legal team and I started looking at it, and we're ready. We have already written to the Prime Minister, or the would-be Prime Minister, because we believe it will be Boris, to say that if you should do this, we believe it's illegal and we'll proceed to court. So for us, it's not theoretical. This is, before others have mooted it, we are already started the sort of protocol process, if he should go there.
But would you would you sort of team up with John Major and others to sort of add weight to your camp? Would that be something that would be advantageous?
Last time when I went to the Supreme Court, others joined us and others would have joined us, but I would be absolutely categorically clear that if anyone tried to politicize this, then I would decline their joining us, because it's got to be about the black and white letter of the law. Okay. It's what we did last time, and it's what we would do again.
And what is, yes, because you always said it wasn't actually about Brexit or no Brexit, it was about the legal process.
It's about the Constitution.
So what is exactly going to be the legal point that would be contested this time around? Because the Constitution seems to be interpreted in different ways, as we're seeing here.
Well, yes, of course, because this is you could say the beauty and the downside of having an unwritten constitution is that it's predicated on convention, on precedents. And actually proroguing happens every year. Normally around April or May, the Prime Minister will go to the Queen and ask for a short break in Parliament. So proroguing is not something that is new to our constitution. But using it to bypass Parliament in an important debate to ensure that it doesn't have a voice, because this is not just about ensuring there's no deal, because if the decision was to have no deal, it actually would stop parliamentarians voting for resources and money to cushion a no deal. So basically, Parliament would be shut, its voice would be shut, and that is what we have been advised, or I've been advised, is illegal for a Prime Minister to deliberately shut down Parliament so that it has no voice and cannot represent its people.
OK, Matt, jump in.
Well, I just wonder, Gina, you certainly have a voice in UK politics. You've become a well-regarded constitutional scholar because of your activities surrounding Brexit. Do you have any desire or do you feel any obligation to run for office in the UK?
No, I don't. And the reason I say that is that at the moment, all my battles are about either transparency or constitutional etiquette. And that doesn't have to be aligned to any political party. By being non-partisan, I can be much more powerful in achieving the aims my team are looking at.
So you won't be teaming up with the Liberal Democrats on this then?
No, because I think there is a possibility, a strong possibility of an election in this autumn, either before Brexit or after Brexit, whichever, before that 31st of October deadline, because we are in a constitutional crisis. But I wouldn't be standing. I think if I ever went into politics, it would be in the future when we can talk about holistic things rather than just everything being about one issue, which is Brexit.
So you're not saying never?
I'm not saying never, but I'm definitely not saying in the near future.
OK, Matt.
I just want to hear a little lesson for an American on the constitutional monarchy. Gina, if the Prime Minister, I guess, asks the Queen or tells the Queen to dissolve Parliament in order to push through his plans, is it possible that the Queen would say no, or could say no?
Gosh, I don't. Well, this is one of the problems with this issue, is that actually dissolving Parliament tends to happen when we have an election and then MPs don't take their seats because they need to be re-elected. So prorogation is different from dissolving. And as I said, it happens once every year when it's just a ritual when the Queen just says yes because there's a short break in Parliament and then MPs take their seats again. To do it in this context would put the Queen in a very, very difficult, the monarchy in a very difficult position. I can't see that the Queen would actually decline a Prime Minister, because it would then make the Queen an active part of our political scene, and I just cannot foresee that happening.
Do you see any significance in terms of, so we've talked very much about the process here, we've kept the conversation to the process, but in terms of the end outcome, do you see any significance to the end outcome of the Labour Party seemingly little by little changing its stance, particularly on a second referendum?
I think the chances of a second referendum are almost zero, and the reason I'll say that is because the Labour Party, if there is a Conservative government, which there will be between now and 31st of October unless there's an election, then in that case the Labour Party is a Remain party. But then if there were to be an election, they then say they'll be a Leave party. So they are as confused as they ever were. And actually, more importantly than that, within the Labour Party, you've got the political elected members of the Labour Party, the MPs, and then you've got the NEC who run it. And there is a huge divide between those two parts of the Labour Party. There are deep divisions, and I cannot see those being resolved between now and October.